good. Because if you're not, and they don't hear from you, it's going to continue. We have got to do everything in our power to make a difference, to stop this continuous anti-gun control when we all know it's not needed here in Vermont, right? Right. We do not need to balance safety and hunting, right? Shep Smith, can you hear me? It's not about hunting. It's about our God-given rights to self-defense, right? All right. So before we get started, I just want to make a couple comments and thank some people. Let's thank Bob DePino for providing us for this wonderful podium. All right. And let's thank Brian Shaw for our audio system. All right. And I'd like to thank Channel 17 for being here recording us. And I'd also like to thank Avalon Wedding Tents and Events for the use of the chairs. Whoa. So, and I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank all of those who helped bring in this rally together. And just a couple reminders, please, no firearms on the property, they're not allowed, and unfortunately no dogs either. So, and I'd also like to ask you to please be civil, respectful of the grounds, and to each other while you're here. Thank you. All right. So to start us off, I want to introduce veteran George Raymond to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. George was born in Springfield and grew up in Ludlow. He was in the Vermont Army National Guards with 2 deployments. The most recent was Afghanistan in 2010 as an infantryman. Let's welcome George and thank him for his service.
Thanks for showing up. I'm going to take a second to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Before I introduce the speakers, I'd like to call Erika Eldred up here, please. She's going to give you an announcement concerning the raffle that we're holding.
Hey, everybody. So we're going to do a few small raffle things here at the very end. We've got a 325-round brick of 22, a 5-pack of AR magazines, a pair of revision goggles, a 200-round sleeve of 5.56, a sleeve of 7.62 by 39, and a 500-round brick of PMC 22. We're going to give all those away at the very end here. Come see us if your number gets called on your raffle ticket, and we'll tell you where you can collect it. We'll be doing gift certificates for them. We can't do it here on the ground. So, at the big prize is a Smith & Wesson M&P 15 optics-ready carbine. You have to come to the legislative mixer on Thursday night to receive that. You have to be there in person, 1 ticket per person. There'll be a gift certificate for that, and I believe the powder horn is going to take care of the transaction for it. So thanks to everybody that gave a donation for that, and we'll call out the numbers at the end. Thanks.
Thanks, Erika. All right, so now for our first speaker, it's my pleasure to introduce to you my friend and the founder and the president of the Gun Owners of Vermont, Mr. Ed Cutler.
Well, actually, before I speak, I'd like to introduce a representative who is a staunch pro-gun supporter and somebody who stood with us over the years and somebody who I've always considered a hero. Joe Benning, Senator Joe Benning.
Welcome to the State House. You will notice a statue behind me of a guy named Ethan Allen, which you'll be hearing a little bit more about later. The sculptor said that he had his hand raised up in defense of liberty. And lately around this building, I'll have to confess, he's got his hand raised up to hail a cab out of town. It is a strange place at times inside this building. There are many people who want to do a lot of good, but sometimes they forget about some of the most basic concerns that we have. And one of them is embodied in a constitutional provision which I've taken to memory, and it's not Vermont Constitution Article 16. John McClary will tell you a little bit about Article 16, but I want to tell you about Article 18, which I've committed to memory. That frequent recurrence to fundamental principles and a firm adherence to justice, moderation, temperance, industry, and frugality are absolutely necessary to preserve the blessings of liberty and keep government free. The people ought, therefore, to pay particular attention to these points in the choice of officers and representatives, and have a right, in a legal way, to exact a due and constant regard to them from their officers and magistrates when making and executing such laws as are necessary for the good government of this state. Now, recently, the city of Burlington has asked us to consider charter changes, which I have to confess I don't believe are necessary for the good government of this state. We, as a people, have to remain constantly on guard whenever someone comes up with an idea that they think is right. Treat them with kindness and be polite, but be very firm in how we stand when we face opposition like that. Because constant vigilance is the price that we all pay to remain in a free society. So welcome to the State House, and remember, there's an election in November. Vote accordingly. Thank you very much.
Well, now that it's down to the nitty-gritty. The legislative mixer, March 13th, 4:30 to 8 o'clock. Anybody that can be there, be there. What we need is people there to tell the senators and House members no to the Burlington ordinances and no to H 735. Now, the reason for no to H 735 is not just a gun issue, it's a civil rights issue. When one person walks into a courtroom or gets on a video and tells a judge, I'm afraid of that person, an immediate restraining order is put out. A sheriff, cop, some law enforcement will come knocking on your door. They'll give you a piece of paper and say you have to leave. After they do that, without a trial, they will take everything that they deem a weapon. This is not firearms. This is weapons that's written into the bill. They will charge you a $25 fee per weapon and a $4 a week storage charge for as long as it takes you to get out from under it. The average divorce, which is where these things mostly happen, takes about a year. This is against many laws, civil rights violations, and all kinds of things. Now, why did they propose this and why are they asking for it? We don't know. For the last 18 years, total, there have been 60 firearms deaths in this state. Out of those 60, 20% of them have been domestic. The number doesn't equal out and it doesn't add up. Out of those 60, we did a little study comparing us with Massachusetts. Okay? Sorry, I'm working off a note here, but basically Massachusetts, the firearms murder rate is 500 times higher than it is in the state of Vermont. At the same time, 70 to 75% of all households in the state of Vermont have firearms. In Massachusetts, the number's really easy to get. The average is 20. 20% of all people in Massachusetts' homes have firearms. They have a much higher rate, they have much higher crime, and here we are in the state of Vermont, where since Brady's been enacted, there have been 327,000 firearms purchased. That's just since Brady's done till the end of last year. With all those firearms and all the millions of firearms that have existed in this state since its enactment, we have been continually the least firearm murder rate in the nation, and we've been that for as long as they've been keeping records of it. For some reason, Vermont has always been a peaceful place. Even back in the days of the Revolutionary War, we didn't fire a whole bunch of shots. We just kind of took a little boat ride over to the state of New York and took Ticonderoga without a shot being fired. This is our history. This is the way we have been and we always will be. But there are elements from New York now that want to get even. Do you know who I'm talking about? You got it. Michael Bloomberg was probably going to wind up spending millions of dollars in this state to get his egotistical way. At the same time, the people of Vermont, and most of us are gun owners in this state, will not put up with it. We have led peaceful lives, we have had high gun ownership, and we're decent and honest people. He doesn't understand this kind of thing. According to him, we're all murderers, muggers, and thieves. What I need, and I need this from everybody, and there will be something put up on our website and our Facebook. I need you to call Tim Ash. He's the chair of the committee that the forfeiture bill is in. And I want you and need you to demand from him to bury the bill.